Let's talk about the big stock through the day, and that is Trent facing pressure. Let's get in somebody who tracks Trent with an eagle eye to talk about the numbers as we have deciphered them and what could the way ahead be, and maybe an eye on the valuations as well. Mahima, I mean, this that it would crack isn't a surprise. What next will be something that the street will keenly watch out for?
Right, so basically what's hurting the stock today is two things. It came out with its business update in the morning today, plus the AGM commentary that came in yesterday. I'll start with the business update first. The growth of revenue came in at 20%, which they said that they'll do anywhere above that 25% mark. So that's one thing that the street is not liking. Plus, the 5-year CAGR growth for Trent has been around 35%. So 20% street is not happy with. Secondly, in terms of store additions also, they've added 1 store of West and 11 stores of Zudio. They've overall guided for 250 store additions in FY26 itself. So the kind of store addition that has happened in Q1 itself is on a lower note. Probably that's the second thing that the street is not liking. Now, moving on to what the key takeaways from AGM were. Firstly, they've said that Star Bazaar has the potential to be bigger than that of Westside and Zudio. So they're focusing on branded products, that is Star Bazaar branded products in that particular area. Plus, in terms of Big Basket, they've said that it's relatively more expensive and they don't want to merge Big Basket and Star Bazaar together. The company is on track with regards to their 10 times target by FY30 in terms of revenue growth. They've already doubled in the past 2 years. Plus, they've said that the overall the store guidance that they've given of 250 is also on track, and they will do that. Plus, going ahead, they've said that core fashion business will see some kind of slowdown because of the kind of overall demand environment, and especially that is being seen in Q1 because they've grown at around 20%. And lastly, overall, they're targeting growth of anywhere between 25% to 30% in FY26. Now, two interesting broker notes came out on Trent with different views altogether. Nuvama has downgraded Trent to hold and revise the target price to 5884 versus that of 6627 earlier. So a big downgrade there. They're saying that near-term growth is disappointing. They've cut their FY26 and 27 targets by 5 and 6% respectively in terms of revenue, and 9 and 12% for EBITDA. Plus, they're saying that pickup in Zudio Beauty and Star Business can become the next big growth levers if they're executed well. From Macquarie, they've maintained outperform with a target price of 7,000, but even Q1 kind of commentary and growth is disappointing to them as well. But what they're saying is that the Q1 growth is disappointing because of a one-off that's linked to early monsoons as well as the India-Pakistan conflict that took place. So it's just a one-off, and that they believe that second quarter Trent will bounce back to the 25 to 30% growth that it has already guided. So this is the overall view as to why the stock is under pressure today. And of course, valuations were never cheap for Trent.
Well, never cheap. Not sure if they will be, even post this correction, also not cheap. Thank you for that, Mahima. Avinash, how do you view everything that's happening here? Because as Mahima said and spoke about and reiterated, valuations not being cheap, but growth coming off. Do you believe that that's a concern for you, or do you just believe it's a temporary blip and the bounce back will also likely happen?
No, I think, Harsh, my guess is, the first quarter commentary and the business update is disappointing, but that doesn't mean that that is the end of the road for a company like Trent. India is a very large market, as far as consumption is concerned. And I think, the company has given a fair amount of guidance that they'll be putting up another 250 stores in FY26. So I think maybe the first quarter has been a slow period. I personally feel that, the second half should be much better compared to the first half. And I think whenever such business updates are announced, the market takes it in the negative. But I think the Trent management has a approach of, promising less and delivering more. So I think, let's wait for the final numbers to be out, the business commentary to come out. And I think one can take a reasonable call on the long-term trajectory of the business. See, the retail business is a very huge opportunity, and Trent is a very well-established player. It has built a niche for itself. So I think, if at all the stock corrects in the near term, that would be a good opportunity to accumulate it. I think if you've got a 2-year kind of time frame, there's a good lot of money to be made even from the current levels.
Okay, and Avinash, would you prefer a larger player like Trent within this space, which is to play retail, or would you prefer something like a V2 and that stock also zooming in trade today? So trying to understand how would you play retail and how would you prefer playing retail? You're clearly not negative Trent, but are you more constructive on some of the other names is what I'm trying to understand.
Yeah, see, V2 retail also has done remarkably well. In fact, they've done remarkably well in the sense that their business update and their performance has been very solid. But I think, Trent and V2 retail operate in two different segments. So my sense is that, Trent is now having a mix of both the upper segment as well as the middle segment. V2 retail is more in the tier 2, tier 3 kind of markets. So my sense is that Trent is also making an effort, in going in cities like Indore, Jabalpur, trying to hit out those market segments with their middle product segments. So I think net, I think you need to have an exposure in 2-3 retail companies, if you want to have a retail kind of basket portfolio. And that is definitely a good strategy because I think overall the market opportunity is large. Every every company has got its own product strategy. And obviously the market is huge enough for all players to grow. But I think you need to take a longer term call. Retail is not a short term story, Harsh. You need to take at least the next couple of years if you want to stay invested here.
Point taken. Nilesh, do you have a view with regard to a Trent and a V2?
Right. So Trent, today we have seen a big crack in this particular stock with a good volume participation. So there could be possibility of another leg on the lower side. But I think it has a very strong support near about 5,000. So if at all we see any dip towards 5250 or maybe near about 5150, that might get bought into. Stop loss should be placed below 5,000. We are not advising to go long in this particular counter, but if somebody is already holding the long position, can keep a stop loss near about those levels. Now coming to V2 retail, this is comfortably placed currently and looks positive on the chart for 2000 plus kind of target from a short term perspective. So structure wise this looks positive. One can keep a stop loss below 1880 and long position can be initiated in this particular stock.